Silent proposal. The world went mute when Ethan slipped my hearing aid from my ear, his fingers trembling against my skin. The restaurant's clatter, clinking glasses, laughter, the hum of a dozen conversations, vanished, leaving only the thud of my heart. His lips moved, forming words I couldn't hear, his eyes wide with a strange mix of fear and adoration. Candlelight flickered on the table, casting shadows across his face, and I squinted, trying to read his lips. Marry me. My breath caught, not from joy but from the sudden gut-punching realization. My ears had healed last week. I could hear without the aid. And I'd heard her voice on his phone last night. The restaurant was a cocoon of warmth, all soft lighting and velvet upholstery, but my skin prickled as if I'd stepped into a freezer. Ethan knelt, holding a ring that glinted like a cruel promise. I wanted to scream, to demand why he'd been whispering to someone named Lila at 2 a.m., but my throat locked. Instead I smiled, a brittle practice thing, and nodded. The other diners clapped, their hands moving in silent waves, oblivious to the storm churning inside me. Ethan slid the ring onto my finger, his touch too gentle, too careful, like he was handling something already broken. Last week at the audiologist's sterile office, the doctor had grinned, saying, "A miracle, really. Your hearing's back, almost perfect." I'd laughed, imagining Ethan's face when I told him I could hear his goofy singing in the shower again. But I hadn't told him yet. I'd wanted to surprise him, to savor the secret like a gift. Then last night I'd woken to his hushed voice in the living room, the words, "Lila, we can't keep doing this," slicing through the dark. I'd lain still, my healed ears betraying me, catching every syllable of his guilt. "She's too smart, she'll figure it out." My stomach had twisted, but I'd rationalized it. Maybe Lila was a coworker, a friend, a misunderstanding. Now with that ring strangling my finger, denial felt like swallowing glass. "Say something," Ethan urged, his voice clear now that I'd slipped the hearing aid back in. His eyes searched mine, desperate, like he knew I was unraveling. I'm overwhelmed," I managed, my voice steady despite the chaos in my chest. The lie tasted bitter. I wanted to love him, to believe this was real, but every glance at his nervous smile felt like spotting a crack in a dam. The waiter brought champagne and Ethan raised his glass, his toast a blur of romantic clichés. I sipped, the bubbles sharp on my tongue, and scanned the room. Was Lila here watching? Was she the woman in the red dress by the bar, her laugh too loud, or the server who kept glancing our way? Paranoia clawed at me, but I couldn't stop. At home, Ethan hummed carefree as he poured us wine. The apartment smelled of his cologne and the lilies he'd bought for the occasion. I stood by the window, city lights blurring below, and asked, "Who's Lila?" The question slipped out, quiet but sharp, like a blade hidden in silk. His humming stopped. The silence stretched, heavy, suffocating. "Lila?" he said, too casual, his back to me as he fumbled with the wine bottle. "Just a client." "Why?" My heart pounded, but I kept my voice soft. "I heard you last night. On the phone." He turned, his face pale, eyes darting like a trapped animal's. "Heard me? But your hearing aid." "I don't need it anymore," I said, the words cold, final. "I heard everything." Ethan's mouth opened, closed, then opened again. "It's not what you think. Lila's she's helping with a project. Late nights, that's all." His voice cracked, and I wanted to believe him, to cling to the man who'd held me through panic attacks and hospital visits. But the cracks in his story widened. Late nights that never added up, text he'd hidden, the way he'd flinch when I touched his phone. "Then show me," I said, nodding at his phone on the counter. "Prove it." He hesitated just a second too long, and my heart shattered. "I can't," he whispered. "I deleted the messages. But I swear it's not." "Don't." I cut him off, tears burning my eyes. "Don't lie to me anymore." The truth spilled out in fragments, each word a fresh wound. Lila was no client. She was his coworker, his confidant, his mistake. A drunken night 3 months ago had spiraled into something he couldn't stop, something he swore he'd end. "He loved me," he said, his voice breaking, but the ring on my finger felt like a shackle now, not a promise. I stared at him, the man I'd planned a future with, and saw a stranger. The betrayal wasn't just Lila. It was the lies, the gaslighting, the way he'd let me doubt my own sanity. I yanked off the ring, the metal cold against my skin, and set it on the counter. "You should have told me," I said, my voice barely a whisper. "I would have fought for us." As I walked out, the city's noise roared back. Car horns, distant laughter, the pulse of life. My ears, healed and sharp, caught every sound, but all I heard was the echo of his voice, pleading, and the deafening silence of my trust breaking apart.